listeners and viewers. We're here with another episode of the Power of Nine podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Eggert. We're here with a good friend of mine, Bame. And right now, I think you're titled senior director at Lube-Tech, but I think, who knows, right? Like it seems like year to year it changes. So we literally, on a whim, decided to record today. We were supposed to go hunting together.
Yep, true.
Today is a Monday, and it is 20 below out, something like that, wind chill. So we're just like, F it, let's go record a podcast. And so I'm super pumped about the fact that we just threw this together. You got your camo on, so that's good. Those of you that are YouTube watchers. So I'm pumped to have you on the show, man. And I've known you for a long time. To me, it's like a no-brainer to get you on the show, but for some reason, it's just my buddies, and sometimes I just don't do that. So the last buddy that I had in here, we crushed it. So let's do this thing, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
So I like to talk about a little bit around your journey and stuff like that. You have such a fascinating lineage, I'll say, just because of the whole Lube-Tech side of the family business. There's so many paths that we could go down on all that stuff. That is your lineage. I want to focus on you. So let's talk about a little bit about your childhood. So what was your family dynamics growing up and stuff?
Yeah, so I'm the oldest of four. I have three younger sisters. About a 7.5 year gap between all of us. A couple of us are in the family business. A couple of us said no thanks. I'm running in any direction but the family business. So it works really well. Mom, dad grew up in Monticello. Most of my family's still there. I'm the defector. I'm down in Chanhassen, so we're in Excelsior right now. So this is close to home. This is nice now. But grew up going to high school there, and then ultimately went to college at University of Minnesota. But a little bit about me.
You were huge into hockey, and was that like in your blood when you were a kid?
Yeah. My dad played hockey, coached me all the way up until I think Squirts Peewees. Then you start getting the real coaches versus the concerned fathers.
Yeah.
But we didn't have a sheet of ice in Monticello where I grew up. So we grew up going to Elk River and St. Cloud. That's when guys like Paul Martin and stuff were coming through. There's some names that people would recognize. But so we were always traveling every single time. But
what was the family dynamic then with having two? So you have two younger sisters. Is that what you said?
Three younger sisters. No brothers.
So you're the only boy.
Only boy.
Oh,
so I got to do all the hunting trips, all the fishing trips, all the cool stuff. So it was my dad's little buddy from that perspective. But they all my sisters played hockey too as well. So it was just big sports family. Yeah. And honestly, I'm probably one of the more mild-mannered. A couple of my sisters would probably chew me up. They're strong female leaders.
I've met one of them.
Probably met if you met one of them for sure.
Yeah. Were you a good student?
I was a pretty good student. Wasn't overly. Outperformed, not valedictorian, like B's worked for me, but really loved chemistry, biology, dissecting stuff. Yeah, it was a fun thing for me, which also led into the family business, which is just molecules and learning about, just being curious about things you don't know and the unknowns. But so I always loved it.
So when you were a kid, how much exposure did you have to like the family business side of things?
Yeah, a lot actually. My first official job where I actually made a paycheck, because child labor laws don't exist for family business, was actually at the family business. I was sweeping floors. The first one that people know me for was painting the fences as an 8-year-old. So think of like Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer. Yeah, I used to paint the fences, these chain link fences with like a roller. Yeah. They used to call me the Tin Man because I'd get it all over me. So I did that from 8 to probably 14, 15 till I could get an actual real job. But yeah, all of us started there. My dad actually took me, I don't know if I was just the oldest or the only boy or what it was, but he took me and actually would dress me up in suits and bring me into different meetings and board meetings. He had no care. He's like, this is my kid. He's coming with me, and that's the way it is. So I remember going to meetings at Polaris and Articat, because we make a lot of oil for those OEMs and stuff. But I have a lot of vivid memories being in meeting rooms as a little kid.
Let's take a little bit of a step back then, even pre-you. Before we start getting into like you've done some really cool stuff after high school and stuff, so I want to dig into some of that stuff. Okay. Tell the Lube-Tech story, right? So I know enough to be dangerous because I've heard it a handful of times and I've just known you for so long, but tell a little bit about that story, the family business story.
So family business, my dad's dad, so my grandpa was a serial entrepreneur, business guy, started probably a dozen or more companies over the years. And my dad was the second to youngest. There was 5, so we had 3 older sisters, one younger brother. He was the oldest boy. And essentially, my grandpa started businesses for all of them, or helped them get their start with their first businesses. Most of them were in food, like the Tavern, Ellen Elmo's on Lake Minnetonka. So they had some type of a food and a restaurant vibe to them. All that whole family's a bunch of chefs. And then there was my dad.
Yeah.
My grandpa wanted to diversify, and so he bought a small Amical bulk plant, which is now our headquarters in Golden Valley, Minnesota. But bought that then, and ultimately that was the one my dad took interest in, and bought it for my grandpa back in '93. And that's when they changed it from Gopher State Oil, super limiting, to just this state, and then changed it to Lube-Tech. But
what year did your grandpa buy that Amico business?
I think it was in like 1971 or in the early 70s.
Oh, so he had it for a while.
Oh, okay. Before ultimately my mom and my dad bought it, and they still own it today, 50-50. And
so as you look at like your third generation, right? So from what you know, I don't want to speak for you, just speak for your dad, but like, was it predetermined for him to get into business from your grandpa?
I think so. To try something, I think was predetermined. To jump into the oil industry, I don't think that was ever determined. Food would have been more of a natural choice because they were all in food services. Except for I did have one aunt who, in addition to running a restaurant, she actually ran all the Wicks and Sticks in the state. Oh. So you remember Wicks and Sticks in Ridgedale?
Yeah.
Yeah, so my aunt ran those for a long time until she retired and sold them off.
Fascinating.
But yeah, so they're all just business people on my dad's side of the business, or dad's side of the family, rather.
How about you? Was it pretty much, were you told, like, was this by choice, or were you told that you were going in the family business?
I mean, absolutely 100% had no interest to go in the family business. Really? I wanted to run really far away and do my own thing, whatever it was. I didn't care, just something different. And ultimately got lured back in, and they ran a really good company at that time, and I got interested. I'm like, okay, this culture is awesome. It's something that, we're known for in some shape or form. So I just fell in love with it. I'm like, okay, they're doing things. You could be a pretty big cog in the wheel if you want to be. So I ultimately stayed. I never thought I did. When I graduated college, I was like, I'm out, not doing this. I'm gonna start my own business, do my own thing, whatever. Because I mean, the statistics with third gen is horrible.
It's single digit success.
It's so bad. I always tell people the joke for me when people don't understand family business, you got Gen 1 that's team try hard and they build something out of nothing. You got Generation 2 that really wants to diversify, do different things than the generation before them. And Generation 3 is like, don't care about grandma and grandpa, give me a paycheck, I'm out.
Yeah, right.
So I didn't want to be that statistic either. That was in the back of my mind.
And I think that the Lube-Tech business is large enough now to where there's enough decision makers and people running the business to where you're not. I think in a lot of those statistics, I think, are a little bit skewed into like typical small business, because most businesses can't get to this level that you're at, right? From size standpoint, amount of employees, and just general like governance of the business, right? Managing the business. And you're set up to, I think there's a lot of third generations that are just set up to fail.
Correct.
Because of the fact that they didn't set up that structure. There's no systems and process. It's all just the second generation diversifying owner was running this thing, from their gut. And that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, you make me you remember of a podcast I just listened to about SaaS companies. So the largest SaaS company in the world is Salesforce, but software as a service, and they talk about 0 to 1 million is impossible, like 1 to 10 is improbable, and then once you're at 10 million, like 10 to 100 is inevitable. And so I just think about that progression. I think a lot of them get caught in that. This is improbable or not possible, and they don't get to that point where they get to something big enough that's sustainable, where it can handle all the third generation mess ups that you that you pick it on third gen, but any generation can have an issue or screw up.
Well, it's
human
data,
nature,
right? It's proven that that happens.
Right.
It's just, I don't think that the size of a business like Lube-Tech, that you're gonna have that.
It would take a lot. It would
you
take
have to really try to screw that up.
It would take like a presidential offspring screw up type of thing.
Right. All right, let's get back to you. We will do more Lube-Tech talk here in a little bit. High school. So you were a pretty good high school hockey player. Yeah.
Not too bad. I really cared about sports. I was really young, so I'm an August baby. So
me too.
84 model. So graduated at when I was 17 and was already going off to college by July before I even hit 18. But so I was a little bit small. but ultimately did well. Again, this is from a town with no ice arena. So like if you just cared a little
Where'd you
bit,
go to
you could do
high
okay. Monticello.
So you went to
So I went to
Monticello High
Monticello,
School.
but they didn't have an ice rink at that time. Now they do. They've had one for 15 years, but back then they didn't.
They're a pretty big school now, yeah.
Yeah, so no, my senior year I was even lucky enough to be in the top couple guys of scoring, and
Cool.
Yeah, it was fun. I had a really good time.
Cool.
I still love to play today. I still do the pond hockey tournament. Actually,
that's right.
Shout out. Yeah, I put it on LinkedIn recently, but we won our division's pond hockey tournament on Lake Nokomis last year. Yeah.
Last year you did.
Yeah, they had about 150 teams.
Are they doing it this year again?
Yep, they're going to do it.
Are they?
They're going to get ice.
They got
It's
ice
late,
now?
But it's only -8 right now, so.
When is that?
It starts actually this weekend, and then it's so big that it's 2 weekends.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, because they have women's and mixed and all sorts of age brackets.
We have a mutual friend that started that, and I remember him, Carson, talking about that, getting that thing up off the ground. Now it's the Great Northern, it's like a whole conglomerate, and everything is all tied together and stuff like that. It's a big winter festival.
I think it's one of the biggest ones. I think it's one of the biggest pond hockey tournaments because they get people from East Coast, Canada, West Coast, down south, everywhere coming in. So
do you still play?
I do. I don't know when I'm when I'm going to hang it up, but after this year I could join 40 plus on up, so I might change divisions soon. So I'm not playing against 18-year-olds.
Your time is coming here on the Big 4-0. We just talked about that. The other thing I was in preparing for this today, I didn't realize you were in Switzerland that long. You were in Switzerland for 4 years after high school? After college?
After college.
So where'd you go to college?
So I graduated at Carlson at the University of Minnesota with a degree in communications and marketing, and then a minor in leadership, only because I started by going to North Dakota first. And then I realized I don't want to be an engineer, and went into something that had to be that was a little bit more people centric. Yeah. I called my dad one day and I was like, I'm not doing this engineer thing. This is boring. I'm doing CAD drawings and facility layouts. And he goes, well, if you let me weigh in, I'm your dad. You like people, so do something with people. Yeah. And I was like, so like marketing. And he goes, yeah, you're getting there, kid. Keep going. So. Yeah. But yeah, that was college for me. And then after that, I took a job in Switzerland and for an oil company.
Crazy.
Met them at an expo, like a trade show. Yeah. Met these guys and talked to them, and they said, hey, we need someone to lead our English-speaking initiatives in our winter category. And I'm like, oh, winter, hold my beer. In Minnesota, it's pretty cold here. Yeah. A lot of snow machines. Articat's from here, Polaris is from here. We're not too far from BRP, Skidoo. So I went over there and I ran their winter category for them, and it was really fun. And then I played hockey over there, and I played lacrosse.
Really?
Yeah, so a little bit about me. I was much better at lacrosse than I ever was at hockey. I just fringe hockey player, but I ended up being okay at lacrosse.
Well, at that time, it was just lacrosse wasn't even a thing in Minnesota.
Correct.
Right.
It was it's just
good luck trying to compete with hockey, but now, obviously, it's crushing now. It's all over the place.
It's huge. Yeah, 1998 to 2004, somewhere in there is about when all the schools started ramping up their programs, and that's about when I graduated. So that'll get big.
Do you think that time working for another company, do you still look back at that time of like the things that you learned in a pretty formidable time of like right after college, trying to figure things out? You hear about this a lot in family businesses, like, the owner will be like to their kid, get out of here.
Go somewhere.
Go live life. Go somewhere else.
Learn something.
Best practices, maybe things that we can apply to our business in the future. But don't come and live here and just kind of, ride that.
Ride the wave.
Go live some experiences. Mm-hmm. You still look back at that as being something that you're happy that you did.
Oh man, it's such a great point to be made. I truly wish with the state of, I know we're not going to talk about politics today, but the state of where we're at in the United States, I wish every American would go and live somewhere for 6 months, 9 months. Mm-hmm. Just pick a country, one that's safe. Just go see a different culture, and I guarantee you will come running back to the United States going, this is an amazing place to be, for whatever reason that might be, whether it's how they run politics or healthcare. You pick one, but just go learn one.
I just think like food. Like you go to, my wife and I travel every other year. We go somewhere nowadays. So we haven't in a while, but right before COVID, we went to London and Ireland, right? And portions of food, like everything is like, right. And we are just like, I was even watching TV the other night, and sorry, I go on rants, but watching football the other night, and it was an Applebee's commercial, and it was $14.99 all you could eat, and everything was fried food. Everything. And I'm like, this is, and I flat out said to Tiff, I'm like, there is no way they would ever do something like this in Europe. Like this just, no wonder they look at us as a bunch of fat Americans. Because it's just because we do it to ourselves.
We do it to ourselves. We do it to ourselves. Just like how we eat, how we go about growing your grocery stores and preservatives. And I mean, I'm not vegan. I really like to eat meat, but I really admire some of the things they do when you're looking at getting things that are coming from the ground and from the earth. So yes. And so living in Switzerland, they do that. They would go to the grocery store. They're small. They're like boutique-y. Yeah. They're like 1/10 the size of like a Whole Foods store. So they're small, but everything's fresh every day. Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's bread. So I would eat the same, if not more, portions over there, and I lost weight living over there because they just don't have all the things that we put in our food.
It's the quality of food,
right? So so whatever you're learning, but just going somewhere. You talked about food, talk about how they run their country, and just seeing how things are done. Hopefully, you can learn a different language too as well. I was fortunate enough to learn when I went over there because they didn't speak English. Right? They do in Zurich, because there's a lot of banking in Zurich, Switzerland, but everywhere else it's actually all German. They've got 4 languages, but 75% roughly is German. Yeah, so I had to learn that.
Maybe you and I should start a travel podcast.
We could.
And go travel.
I don't mind traveling. I'll fly.
Yeah, you'll fly. That's right. You're fine. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to get into your career journey here, and then we'll get into some 9 questions in a little bit. Fun fact on those, that's going to be, we're going to throw a curveball in there. And we're going to be right back with Luke Bame after we hear from a few of our community supporters. All right, everybody needs a bank. Not just any bank, a good community bank. From personal needs like checking and savings accounts to business services like financing and M&A support, the team at Flagship Bank is there to provide you with the assistance you need so you can spend less time thinking about your finances and more time enjoying what your money can do for you. To learn more, head over to Flagship Banks, that's flagshipbanks with an S.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Flagship Bank, investing in you. When you think of a typical CPA firm, you probably think of tax planning. Well, that just scratches the surface of what Boulay offers their clients. By providing smart, in-depth thinking from experts in accounting, audit, tax, and business consulting, they know what it takes to achieve financial success. Whether it's protecting your business, building your wealth, or securing your future, you can count on Boulay to go beyond addressing just financial matters and providing you with tailor-made, workable solutions. Learn about all they have to offer at bouleygroup.com. Boulay, helping you get there. For more than 20 years, Kaisa has been the trusted financial advisor for women, business owners, executives, and high-net-worth families, developing financial plans designed to meet them where they are and propel them to where they want to be. Their mission is to remove the worry and stress associated with financial planning and replace it with clarity and confidence. The Kaisa team takes the time to understand each client's unique situation, from financial concerns to the visions that they have for current and future generations, in order to create a truly customized plan. Through consistent communication and personal attentiveness, Kaisa is fiercely devoted to personal well-being and financial prosperity. Get to know the Kaisa team and how they can serve you at kaisawealth.com. Regardless if you're a startup just figuring things out or a medium-sized organization with a full team, having a legal partner by your side is crucial. Seiler Law is fiercely loyal to their clients and are passionate about removing headaches and roadblocks that can pop up during the growth of your business. Whether you need general outside counsel, are planning a business transaction, or even need someone to guide you through the estate planning process, the team at Seiler Law are the advocates for you. Visit seilerlaw.com to learn more. Seiler Law, where experience meets pragmatism. All right, we're back with my buddy Luke, and I'm excited to talk about this because I think being friends with somebody, I forget more than I remember just because I'm more focused on our relationship and who you are rather than what your story is. Like, that just happens, I think, through friendship and longevity. So you're in Switzerland for 4 years. What was the catalyst to make you decide to come back?
This is actually a fun story. I don't know if I've told you this one. So nothing. I didn't want to come back. I was, I was in a long-term relationship. I was living my best life. I was playing sports, and I was captain of the team, and I was traveling all over Europe for sports. In addition to my great job.
Your day job.
Yeah, day job. Yeah. Because you didn't make enough money playing sports. It was really just fun in the experience.
It's a passion project.
Right, it's a passion project. But it was a blast. No reason to come back. My mom called me. She calls me, and I get this phone call, and this is a fun story. So if she ever sees this, she's just gonna die. But she calls and she goes, "So you're my oldest, you're my only son. I know you're going to have kids. I know you're going to get married someday, and I'd really love to be a part of that. And before I could respond, she hung up the phone.
Oh.
And I was like, hello? And I was like, well, and then my mom in our family was the disciplinary, and she's just black and white, and she is who she is. And so I didn't even call her back. I called my dad back, and I was like, so is mom mad at me?
Yeah, what's mom?
She goes, well, you've made 2 of 4 Christmases in the last 4 years. I would say she's just sad and she misses you. Huh? And I was like, oh, crush me.
Weird way to show it.
Yeah, I know.
Hanging up on you.
Yeah, hanging up on me was great. I totally felt all the love, all the things.
Yeah. Love you, bye.
Yeah. I was home within 3.5 months.
You were?
That. Yep. I closed up shop, sold the place I was living in, put in my notice, transitioned everything off, fell off the teams I was on, and just said, hey, I got to go back.
Just dissolved everything, huh?
It's the time. And so I went back, and I'll be honest, when I came back, I was in a pretty dark spot for about 6 months. Really? Reacclimated to the American lifestyle. It's just totally different from living over in Europe.
Yeah.
So that was a dark time for me. I actually got a puppy who I still have to this day. Coda, she's 12. She really helped me kind of get through that. I was super struggling.
Yeah.
You have your friends kind of, but not really. You've been gone for 4 years, outside of the 2 or 3 that maybe would come over and visit you here and there. But so I had to reestablish everything, get a place to live. Like it was tough for about 6 months, and I was very resentful for about 6 months.
Did that? Sorry, rabbit hole here.
No,
did your dog play a role in your dark coming out of the dark hole, or like the sense of purpose?
Yep,
because you're a big dog guy. We're both lab guys.
Yeah, so lab guy. Yeah. She's 60 pounds. Was amazing hunter. I just poured everything into her, and so much so that when I met my now wife, we were dating. Dog would get on the bed and like pee on her side of the bed. And I was like, wow. She was very territorial. So we had a really, really tight bond. Still do. Like I said, she's 12. She's finally getting to that point where you start to notice the aging. But she's great now. I mean, my wife can't imagine a life without her, so it'll be tough in a couple more years or whatever. But she absolutely 100% pulled me out of a really bad spot. The dog.
Sweet.
So
sweet. All right, I just had to touch on that.
Dogs are better than people. Dogs are great. So.
Are you kidding me? Like I mean, in the labs. Like I tell people that I have a lab, and people are like, shocker, right? Like, and I think you have kind of a little bit of, you have a lot of energy. Mm-hmm. You're a very likable person. Like you like people, like your dad said, like when you're looking for your gig.
If you're gonna liken me to a lab, that's like the best comment ever. We can just drop the mic and I'm done. Yeah,
me too.
Be great. Someone would call me a lab, I'd be like, that's the best compliment.
Yeah, good. And I like lab people. All right, so let's talk about the work stuff. So when you came back from Switzerland, was it all right? You're working at Lube-Tech?
Yeah, because I was like, all right, if I'm coming back, that was one of the things I told my dad. I'm like, all right, if I'm coming back, you got to figure out a job.
Help a brother out.
And he was like, no problem, we'll make a job. So they put me into industrial sales, which is great. So I got to deal with manufacturing, and it's definitely the toughest part of our business because it's got the most unique product set, and there's just so many people that fit into the manufacturing space. But at the same time, it was just a wonderful time to learn, kind of cut your teeth back on the business. Not that it was new. I've been working in around lubricants, chemicals for my entire life, but so put me into that, and it's been great. It's opened up a lot of doors.
And right into sales.
Right into sales. Here you go. Have fun.
Yep.
Right. Go screw up later.
Yeah. What was the onboarding like for a family member coming into the business being from Europe, going into a sales job, first true sales job in the U.S.? Was it a hey, you're family, so freaking figure it out, or you were like, hey, we're gonna really take care of getting you on board and make sure you're set up for success? Well,
I will say at that time,
like a normal sales rep.
Yeah, it's a great question, man. I haven't thought about that in decades now, but I will say, like most companies, especially us when we were a lot smaller than we are today, we've kind of grown up a lot as an organization, but we were horrible at onboarding. Yeah. It's figured out. Yeah. They tried really hard. I would like to think that they tried even harder, just because it was related to the family. But onboarding is brutal. It's like, go figure it out. Have fun. Here's a book of customers. We'll at least give you that, and just go start calling on them and make relationships. But that's what I love to do, anyways. Meet new people, figure out their story, ask their questions. Same thing you like to do.
Yeah,
so I was like, this isn't work. This is fun. So fun story. One of the first major accounts that I ever brought on as a customer, and they still are to this day. I walked into a manufacturing plant and a machine shop basically, and trying to talk to them about lubricants and chemicals, and this 60-year-old guy goes, get effed, like get out of here. I don't have time for a little kid like you. You probably don't know anything anyways. And I said, okay, well, let me come back in sometime. He goes, if you want to come back in, you got to come back in when I start. And I was like, okay. He's like, I start at 3:30. Next day, came back in, coffee, donuts, and we kicked off a great friendship, and he actually ended up being one of the best men at my wedding.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
So I had a buddy my age, so when I got married, so in our 30s, and then I had a 5-year-old.
That's
like
sweet.
kind of co-best man. Everybody was like, who's the old guy up there? And I'm like, well,
long story.
Yeah, long story, but this guy's taught me a lot.
We ate donuts together at 3:30 in the morning a long time ago.
We had donuts, coffee one time. He's told me to F off many times, and ended up being a father figure, and so he was honored. He spoke at the wedding and everything. Yeah. It was crazy.
So when I met you, you were, this goes back a little ways, but not real long. I was just thinking about this. You were living in Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. And so were you in sales? And you probably did multiple sales jobs, right? And they kind of bounced you around or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then was that your big opportunity to go and kind of earn your keep from a leadership standpoint?
Yeah, so it's a great question. I was already leading at Lube-Tech up to that point, but then we merged and acquired a couple different companies. One of them was in Milwaukee, and we let it run for about 1.5 2 years, which is about 1.5 2 years too long. The leadership there just, they always sound great on paper, right?
Yeah, right, everything
and
does.
So they said, hey, can you just go over there and fix some things? Well, that means restructure, reorg, and now you're going to have a lot of tough conversations, rebuild the culture, hire new people that fit the fabric of the organization and move forward. So that was really fun. It was a turnaround job for the most part, and they really wanted a huge culture advocate over there. So I moved over there. It was great for me. So much learning, definitely helped me in the organization in terms of building, you build that acumen of building teams, which was great. The only negative with that whole experience was my wife thought I moved her to Australia because she's a homebody. Yeah.
Like Milwaukee
was like
6-hour drive.
It took me, as good as I might tell myself in my brain that I am at storytelling and potentially sales, it took me 7 months to convince my wife to move over there.
Really?
Yep. It was brutal. Now, in her defense, we were just fresh off of having our second child.
Oh, yeah.
And she was just like, look, this is where I'm from. I'm a homebody. I've never moved more than 20 minutes in any direction in my entire life. I'm not going. 7 months later, I was like, listen, I can't do this back and forth every week, and finally got over there. It was good. And then COVID hit, so then we went through that period of time too. It's been a little bit tougher. Making friends during that time wasn't fun. So,
I will say though, and we both know this, Wisconsin, COVID didn't really exist in Wisconsin. No. It's like Minnesota. It was weird. It's weird. Yep. We're bookended by a bunch of gunslingers. Wisconsin, anybody I talked to, it was like COVID didn't really exist. No, nobody was really playing by the rules. Maybe in downtown Milwaukee or downtown Madison because it's a university
area. Those are the only two spots,
right? I don't doubt that for a hot second. Dakotas doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. They didn't care. So that had to help a little bit.
We were just on the edge of Milwaukee County, which would be like Hennepin County in Minnesota.
Right, yeah.
And so as long as you're outside of that county, it didn't exist. It was hilarious. It was like, it was just, there was a very clear border. I'll leave it at that.
I remember we did a FaceTime call. You and I did a FaceTime call. You were in a coffee shop, and it was COVID. Mm-hmm. And it was nobody had anything going on. It was just
no mask.
People talking and laughing and all sorts of stuff. And I was like, I want to go to there. How
do I get there?
Yeah,
I really want to be there.
It's only 6 hours, right?
No,
but I was really surprised. In the summer of COVID, 2020, it was full effect. That was nuts.
It was crazy. Yeah, I would say the companies that hindsight's always 20/20, so this isn't really a fair comment. But the companies that just kept going and stayed true to their core and took precautions, they're the ones that are winning right now.
Yeah,
I mean, they came out of that whole thing 10 points ahead of their competitors because they didn't stop.
Yeah.
Having that people interaction.
Yeah, right. How long were you in Milwaukee then? Total?
3.5, 4 years, roughly, all in total. A little bit longer for me than my wife, as I just got done telling you. Maybe 3 for her, about 4 for me.
Yeah, that's right.
On the front, on the back.
That was longer than I remember.
I know. It went by fast.
Wow, that did go by fast.
It's crazy, yeah.
That is crazy. So do you ever go down there again?
I do. I do. I've probably been down there once every 3-4 weeks still.
Yeah.
More for customers, but also for internal facing too, our internal teammates and things like that. When we're doing philanthropic events, I'll be very much involved, because when I was over there, that was what I tried to foster, was all that giving back to the community that they hadn't established over there, that we do a lot around our headquarters here in Minneapolis. But yeah, so I go back and support some of that.
What is your so fast forward to now, what are you focused on right now?
So I just moved into a new role, and we're really great at Lube-Tech in our role naming. Actually, we're horrible.
I was just gonna say, it's
we'll call you janitor, and we might have you. Yeah. I'm like, yeah. So anyways, I'm running our new business development team, which means I am running our top salesperson in like 6 different business units that we have. So, whether it's automotive or industrial or services or recycling. So I have one person from every division reporting to me, and it's new for us. We just started this a year ago, this new team. It's kind of the misfit toys. So tons of tenure, been around the company, been there, done that. And it's really, we call it like our SEAL Team 6 inside of Lube-Tech.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
So, and we're trying to just focus on the new things we don't do. So, Lube-Tech wants to be a 100-year company, and if we continue to sell lubricants and chemicals, we might not be able to be there.
Right.
Okay, it's based off, there's a lot of different levers you have to check, but you have to diversify a lot. When you think about the big successful companies like Cargill, they're not just in commodities, right? Yeah. They're doing a lot of different things and refining and everything else. So that's where we are right now. We're at that pivot point where we need to heavily diversify. So,
what is if I were to ask someone at Lube-Tech, what is the best part about working at Lube-Tech? Not you. What do you think that person would say?
They're going to say the culture and that people care and they feel cared about. That's what they're going to say. And they're probably going to point to our motto, which is to make tomorrow a little bit better than today. And that can be small or huge. As long as you're doing the right thing, it kind of goes back to core values. If you're doing the right thing, it's going to work out. We're not going to make the right decisions. We screw up all the time, just like anybody else does. Yeah. But they're going to say, I feel cared about by the organization. My opinion matters. I'm part of something bigger. In today's day and age, you can't just be there for money. I mean, there's got to be more ties.
Yeah.
So that's what I think they would say.
We can cut this out if you don't like your answer, or if you think I put you on the spot. What is the best thing and the worst thing about being a 3rd generation employee with the potential of future leadership within that business? Best thing first.
Worst thing first?
Worst thing first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Worst thing, and I'm so used to it at this point, but the worst thing is for sure the amount of scrutiny and microscope that you're under. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad.
Yeah.
When you do something good, it's highlighted. When you do something bad, it's absolutely magnified, right?
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter what it is. You're just always under a microscope. And so something so small, and it took me quite a while to figure this out. About 2-3 years ago, I figured out that literally stopping and saying hi to the person on the production line that I happen to run into in the bathroom matters. Yeah. And if you don't say hi, they're going to make up their own reasons why you didn't. And so taking that extra time with everybody matters, because otherwise they're going to make up whatever you think you are. Yeah. You go, well, he wore camo today, so it's probably this 100%. Hunting guy. That's probably all he does is hunt. It's probably all he does is hunt. I'm shocked he's even in the office. Yeah, right. Those types of things. So understanding that don't miss an opportunity for those interactions. So that'd be the worst thing. Just the scrutiny is insane, but if you don't think about it, it's not there. Right. Just do the right thing.
Right.
The best thing about being a 3rd generation company, you're given opportunities to weigh in on topics that maybe you shouldn't. Not in a bad way, but just you wouldn't get the opportunity to talk about, hey, we're thinking about,
or at least exposure to some of these things.
Exposure to so that's a better way to say it. So exposure to, like our board meetings. Yeah. A normal employee and a senior director or a VP role in our company does not come to the board meetings unless they're presenting. Yeah, right. Which can happen. You can do it on your own merit, but I'm also given the opportunity to be there and just listen. Yeah. And so to learn, from our board is just an amazing opportunity. So those are the types of opportunities that are really cool.
What are some resources that, I think we figured out what your podcast could be. It could be on family business.
It could be.
Like you have...
but I'm going to grab Maggie Olson too. There's my plug for her, because I've learned a lot by having little conversations with Maggie.
Yeah, true. Yeah, good point. What are some good resources that you have tapped into that you could share with other people that either work in family business or have gone through where you're going through, or like what type of things have you tapped into that help you create perspective?
So I think there's a lot of good resources, whether you're going to St. Thomas and you get into their family business. They do a lot of really good things there, and I like what they've got going on there. One of my sisters is actually in one of their family business groups. Cool. I think getting involved, getting to know all the really cool businesses we have in this state, because there's some really cool ones, is great. But the biggest thing that I would say to help a family business, if you actually want it to succeed, is to start by, and it might sound very elementary, but to start having family meetings.
Yeah, I think you guys do a great job. You guys do such a great job with that.
We've been doing it for about 10 years now, and at the beginning it was so awkward, and it was like this gray, goofy, squishy middle. We didn't know what we were doing. Yeah. My parents were stubborn. They're like, listen, we're gonna have family meetings, and we're like, oh, okay. What are we gonna do? And you start develop you put together like a family charter. What do we want to be when we grow up?
Do you have somebody that facilitates those?
Yes.
Okay,
and so that's what I was going to get to. We used, I know there's a lot out there, but we used the Platinum Group. And we had someone help facilitate for us for the first, I think 7-8 years.
Cool.
And we would co-facilitate after the first 2 years.
Yeah.
And then now we phased out. We don't use them anymore, but it's because they set us up on such a great trajectory. And they'll have us come back and speak on things that we've learned, but just have a tour guide.
Yeah.
On the journey.
Super smart.
And the journey is super fun, and you'll realize you actually do like your siblings, you do like other people, and they might not agree with you, and you got people that are leaning in all different directions, but at the end of the day, your family's kind of all you have, family and close friends.
Yep. Keep them tight, right?
Right. So
keep the money side separate from the family side.
Right.
Yeah.
And just have family meetings and be open to talking about whatever might be on the table at that time. Whether it's
bring in a facilitator.
Correct.
I think that's
you need the referee. You got to have the referee, because they could say, you know what, hey, we're in a parking lot this one.
Yeah.
Great topic. Not here right now.
Because you can't have dad or mom being the person that's going to be. Yeah, I think that puts them in a bad spot, and it there could be
sets them up for failure.
100%. Yeah.
Because then they're always going to have their bias, and they know that sweat equity they poured into it, and you're trying to teach kids about. Maybe you're just trying to teach them about. Some of them are just education. We'd get together as family, and we would just learn about finances, like how to balance a checkbook.
Yeah.
Not saying I'm amazing, but some of my sisters, it's brutal.
Yeah.
And they were just like, well, here's what you do, and here's why you do it. And that took a lot of iterations, right? Yeah. So how do you continue to do that? So now we're doing that with Gen 4 behind us.
Oh, yeah.
So we bring them into the family meetings, and not until they're 18, but because none of them are 18 yet, they're close. So we do a sidebar meeting with them to start teaching about giving, right?
Wild.
So if you have $10, you take a third of it and you keep it. And you take a third of it, you could spend it, and then you take a third of it and you give it.
Yeah.
And so just teaching about those things. So really the core values and character, but
which is true to your family.
Just give ourselves a better opportunity for the family business to not fail and continue to do good.
Yeah. So before we take a break here and get in 9 questions, could be a loaded question, but what do you think the future holds for you in the next 5 years? I think that's a hard. And I'm going to just preface that saying, when I met you, you would have probably told me what you think, and then I know that it didn't go that way, because just things change in a business and things like that. But what do you? And I'm not asking you to share this with me and everybody else that's listening / watching. In what you think Lube-Tech would say. I'm more curious of just what is inside you.
Oh, that's
what I'm saying.
Awesome.
Sorry if I'm putting you in a rough spot
really
here, because everyone, your family's going to listen to this shit and stuff like that, and they're going to be like, this guy, whoever interviewed, A, sucks, and B, he needs to dial it back a notch. So I get it.
I would say, we talked about this a little bit before we jumped on, but that leadership portrait, I'm going to go back to that because it really is core. I love to coach purpose. Mm-hmm. Those are the words that came out of my leadership portrait. And if you boil it down and you go a lot of different directions, if I can ignite some other people's inner fires to do whatever they want to do, that's a big deal for me. And I take a lot of pride in that. Whether that's leading at the company they're at, or whether that's the kid who's never scored a goal on his hockey team and getting him to score a goal, or learn something new. But then you see that fire ignited, go, gosh, I can do this. Because human nature is to be pessimistic, right? So how do you take some of that optimism? And I'm like you, my rose-colored glasses are like this thick.
Oh yeah.
And I get made fun of all the time. Like, is anything ever bad in your world?
Yeah,
it's -10 outside. It's blowing. It's getting colder by the minute. I'm just going to keep making that number
it's a curse and
larger.
A gift.
But if I can continue to ignite other people and have them find some joy in this world that's so easy to find negativity, that we just make negative things up, especially in America. But, so I would think that would be a win. If I can have a really big impact on a whole bunch of different areas, whether that's, like I said, coaching kids, or it's leading other people, or even just helping my friends in their marriage relationships and stuff. My wife and I went through, it was called Re-Engaged, and it was through the church. And if we can help other people just find, happiness in just their own marriages and their people that they picked, because everybody goes through ups and downs, right?
Yeah.
So
that's relationships in general.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's your significant other, or at work, or a business partner, or whatever. That's friends. Like that. Everything ebbs and flows.
Oh, 100%.
You just gotta know how to weather that storm.
And so to help people weather what's the bottom? The ebb is the top and the flow is the bottom? Okay. So just, that flow, getting them to weather that, because tomorrow's a new day and just keep going. So continuing to spread it.
And I will say, so you're a Coalition9 member in a group that I lead, and then you lead a group, and I will say that is a big part of your leadership style and something you want to lean in on. But what I always say is, like, groups go as the facilitator goes. Like, if you're engaged and you're all in on the group's going to feel that, and they're going to give you that much love back, and they're going to be that much tighter, and they're going to, like, all of that is going to change their experience of being together, and you crush.
That's fun.
Like, you're amazing at that. Well, our feedback is always awesome. Everyone in your group raves about you. So, like, it's clear that you've put that effort forth on doing that, and not only just saying it on my podcast, like, literally in I've seen it firsthand, not only in our friendship, but the people that you're affecting the lives positively in C9. So that's awesome, man.
Well, I really appreciate it. I feel like I'm not worthy of the compliment. It makes me feel super uncomfortable.
I know you hate that stuff.
It's the worst. Getting compliments is so bad.
Yeah.
But I will say, and I'm not trying to pass the buck, but I had a really, really good leader, mentor, and my dad, because that's the way he lives. And so it's easier when you get to see someone just doing that every single day.
Yeah.
Helps.
Yeah. Another family thing, so great shout out for your dad. Tell me a little bit about your family at home.
Well, when they're healthy, they're awesome. Yeah. So this cold stretch is really kicked my kids' butt. So I have 3 boys. Right now they're 3.5, 5, and 6.5 right now. Jeez. All boys. So it's just
belly of the beast.
It's all private parts and farting at our house, like 24/7.
Yes. And wrestling? Is there a lot of wrestling?
Just so much wrestling. Yeah. It's nothing's broken yet, and they, knock on wood, they haven't broken anything themselves. But it's fun. They keep us on our toes.
Yeah.
Ton of energy. They're just like me. They have ADHD coming out of every orifice. And so we're just always looking for outlets, right? Whether it's going outside. Like last night, my son, who's literally sick, is like at 6 o'clock, he's like, Dad, can we go out on the lake that just froze over and go skating? I'm like, you're running a fever. And he's like, I just have energy. I'm like, you're okay.
Gotta go burn it.
Let's go burn it. So we did something in the house, but they keep us on our toes. And my wife is amazing. She keeps them alive. Yeah. I keep them getting the energy out. She keeps them alive. Yeah. Otherwise, they wouldn't eat or have clothes or any of the things. But no, they're really doing good.
And that insanity. All right, we're going to take another quick break here, hear from some of our community supporters, and then we will be right back with Luke Bame, and we're going to do 9 questions. Verseek Search and Consulting is thrilled to support Coalition9 and this podcast, and we are just as excited to have them as a partner. Verseek is a Minnesota-based, high-performance recruiting firm that specializes in interim solutions, direct hire, and executive leadership search. Their team of experienced professionals and seasoned leaders across various areas of expertise and industries have been in your shoes. They quickly assess your whole company and identify key elements that will take your business to the next level. Your company's success hinges on the capacity of your people, and few areas of your business are more critical than your finance and accounting team. Your company's success hinges on the capacity of your people. Verseek can help connect you with the talented candidates within finance and accounting, along with other areas of expertise in executive search, direct hire, and interim solutions. People are the ultimate business advantage. Find your people together with Verseek and make the best possible for your business. Learn more and contact Verseek by visiting Verseek.com and following them on LinkedIn. The topic of talent is hot in organizations of any size, and I would argue none more than small to mid-sized businesses. That's why it's crucial to have a partner to help you navigate all the HR idiosyncrasies so you can focus on working on your business and not in it. Insperity is a full-service HR partner with a high-touch, high-tech platform helping owners work through challenges like employee retention, company culture, and benefits, just to name a few. Do yourself a favor and explore all they have to offer at Insperity.com. Insperity, HR that makes a difference. Every year brings new challenges for Minnesota business leaders, and USI Insurance is here to take the pressure off of the employee benefits decision. Having a local presence with national resources, USI combines a client-centric culture with leading-edge technical resources so you can make an informed decision on your benefits investment. The USI team has been deeply committed to investing into our local communities and utilizes their expertise to provide solutions you can count on to protect your greatest asset, your employees. USI has been partnering with Twin Cities businesses for decades, and they would welcome the opportunity to do the same for you. Visit USI.com to learn how USI's approach to risk management and employee benefits delivers customized, actionable solutions with bottom-line impact. United Healthcare is dedicated to helping people live healthier lives and making the health system work better for everyone by simplifying the healthcare experience, meeting consumer health and wellness needs, and sustaining trusted relationships with care providers. UHC is continually focused on building a modern, high-performing health system via improved access, affordability, outcomes, and experiences. With a network of over 1.6 million physicians and healthcare professionals in over 6,000 hospitals, United Healthcare is dedicated to connecting employers and their employees to better health by offering quality benefits designed for affordability. For more information, visit United Healthcare at www.uhc.com. United Healthcare, helping people live healthier lives. All right, we're back here with Luke. I am fired up to have 9 questions that I'm going to ask you that you have no idea what I'm about to ask you. Can you confirm that you have no idea what I'm about to ask you?
I have no idea. I actually just really want to turn the piece of paper over. You got it.
Yeah, okay, good. That's why it's staying over here. All right, what are you reading or listening to right now?
Oh man, I just I've been given a lot of good things to listen to lately. So I don't read. I hate reading.
Yeah.
Hate reading. So audiobooks. I think you're one of those types of people too. But I'm in the middle of reading a book about SaaS companies and how they start up. But then I'm also listening to another one on how not to die. A lot of people listen to that one. Just it's really about, we talked earlier about eating healthy and doing the right things. A lot of whole foods, stuff like that. Less preservatives in your diet. So it's just interesting read. Yeah. But that one's a little bit like one that's not business for once in my life. And then the one before that was The Motive. Listen to that one. So those are kind of the ones that are in the recent docket that I listen to.
Sweet. What is one guilty pleasure that you indulge in?
Oh my gosh, I have a sweet tooth.
Do you? Me too.
I tell you what, and it doesn't take much. It's like 2 Starbursts.
Yeah.
Or just, handful of chocolate covered nuts. Don't care. Yeah. Or, the one thing that might be a little bit different for an adult is we get like these strawberry water popsicles. I absolutely crush that box.
I would eat
There's
that.
There's no calories in them, so I don't feel like it's bad.
Yeah, but
like they're always like, Dad, there's no more popsicles. I'm like, must have been your mom.
I ate 7.
Yeah, it's because I ate 7
for breakfast.
You think of, Cat Williams?
Yeah.
Dad, what happened to my box of Cheerios? He's like, oh well, Dad got tuned up last night and might have ate them all. I may have done that before.
Whole box.
Oh my gosh, the whole thing. So that's a guilty pleasure. Definitely.
All right, sweet
tooth. That's like insatiable. I cannot get over it.
I have a problem with that too. Big time. What is your favorite meal?
Favorite meal? So for my wife and I, it's sushi. We like to eat sushi together because we're in Minnesota. We're super far away from ocean, so we get a chance to eat good sushi. That matters. But I really love like lasagna, some of those hearty foods. So my mom used to make lasagna. Cooking. Probably comes from that, but I really enjoy lasagna. Yeah. And you can make it so many different ways. You can make it kind of spicy with Italian sausage, whatever, or you can just make it just a stack of cheese, more or less. Yeah. So hard to beat that.
That's a good answer. No one's ever said that, by the way, either.
Really?
Nope. Would you rather? Ooh. And I would eat. Yeah, these are not bad. Would you rather give up deodorant or toothpaste?
Deodorant. Yeah, because I feel like I can mask that with other stuff. So deodorant you can mask with cologne and just do, one of those baths. Yeah. Can you still do body wash?
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Oh, okay. So just no deodorant? Yeah, I just wear a couple extra shirts. Call it good.
You want to know something funny? I haven't worn deodorant in a year and a half.
Oh, you don't smell?
I don't.
I mean, it's cold right now where I can't smell anything anyways, but you don't smell.
I think I think that we get so conditioned, sorry, I'm going on a rabbit hole here, but I think we go so conditioned into having to wear that stuff that eventually your body can't perform without it. And then once you wean yourself off it, I also sauna a decent amount, so I think I sweat out a bunch of stuff that doesn't stink. Right, 100%. And I think your diet plays a role in it and all that stuff. But anyway, so you could change all those things, but I'll tell you, when your mouth tastes like shit, because you don't brush your teeth. You know this. Everybody's done it.
So bad.
It's like I gotta brush my teeth now.
I'm a chronic flosser because I got teeth that happen to collect a lot of stuff. So I'll floss almost after every meal. Yeah. So one of those things I just have to do because the way my teeth are configured, they just collect. Like beef jerky. Yeah. The death of me. And I love beef jerky.
Do you have one of those bags of those little toothpick things in your truck?
Yes. But I really do like the floss. I don't know. I just
like a real floss.
You just kind of get in there. So yeah.
We can start another podcast together on oral hygiene. Or just hygiene in general.
So I gotta brush teeth. It's gotta be a thing.
All right. Good. What is one thing? Because the other thing was one thing and you said 4. One thing that you have deep gratitude for right now.
My health. It always comes back to health because you can't do anything else in this world without health. Yeah. And I love my family and I won't say 5 other things, but without it, I can't perform, I can't support, I can't, be that rock for my kids and my wife. And so health, it's gotta be.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. I would even dial in for me, my back. Mm-hmm. I know people that have back pain, and you can't do anything.
No.
Anything.
It's kind of like your core, just your front versus... Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. If you could give a TED Talk on one thing except something related to your career, what would it be?
That's a crazy one, because I would have said something related to my career. For
I know
sure.
you would talk about lubrication or like
yeah, because that's just an easy
or
thing to talk about.
technology related to lubrication. None of that.
TED Talk. I would talk about the power of optimism and the power of seeing what's good all around us, because there's so many good things to be thankful for, and we just don't focus on them. We focus on what Karen said next door about our wife at some bonfire. I picked the name intentionally, but or John Smith or whatever. We just focus on, it's like there's 27 awesome things, and we focus on the one. So I would talk about the power of optimism.
Yeah. All right. Love it. We do share a lot of the same philosophies and things. Huh. What is one thing that immediately brightens your day?
Your kids. You wake up, you see your kids, and they're always happy to see you at this age. Mine are little. Right. So I apologize when we watch it, and they got old kids that you're like, I can't handle these kids right now. But the kids right now are great. And then also secondarily, definitely be your furry pets too, your furry kids.
Know.
They just... Dogs. They just don't quit. Like it astounds me. Like when God created the, all the creatures and all the things, like dogs. That one you definitely won on. Yeah.
And they all are descendants from just badasses too.
I know.
Right? Like just dogs, wolves.
Yep.
Gosh, love it. All right. Do another podcast, dogs. Write that down. Write that down. What do you enjoy spending money on?
Enjoy spending money on. I genuinely, as I've gotten older, enjoy... this is really a this year thing, but I tried really hard to spend money on like thoughtful giving as opposed to just giving to give. We've got a very fortunate household and come from a very fortunate family, so giving is something that's I've been raised to do, but I've been getting more thoughtful at it. That means planning, a little bit further out versus just, oh shit, I'm going to this white elephant.
Be proactive rather than reactive.
Yeah, like, what can I get at the quick trip shelf, for someone, like, so just, and it's fun, because you get to see there's a difference between people going, oh, hey, you thought of me versus you actually thought about something that I'd actually kind of like. So I'm getting better at it because I'm not that great at it. My wife is amazing, so I get to learn from her. She's so good. She'll plan something 6-9 months ahead, and I'm like, dang. So I'm trying to I
think that's wired into people one way or another. Like either they're brought up that way or they're just born that way. But I'm very reactive. It's actually like something to be thoughtful about. I think I did a good job this last Christmas because I don't think we went overboard.
Yep.
But so it gave me some time to be a little more thoughtful. But that's really hard.
It's super hard. Yeah. It's super hard. And it's crazy. It's always like it's not about money, but a lot of times it ends up being like the smallest gift you got.
Yeah.
It was something super small, but you thought about it and they were like, you remember that one time when I said that one thing on St. Patty's Day when we were drunk? And you're like, I did. Yeah. And here's your green boxers. And they're like, I love them, man.
Yeah.
How'd you know your green boxers? Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's something like that where they care about it versus like, buying something huge for someone. So.
All right, last one. In your own words, how would you define success?
Success for me would be defined as finding something in this world that makes you happy, doesn't feel like work. It doesn't mean it's effortless. Like you got to work at things to make them fun, but finding something that you actually find happiness and you're passionate about, that you can do every day, whether it's with someone else or by yourself. It doesn't matter what it is. So defining success would be, it's kind of come back to that optimistic happiness place, but just I wish we had a lot more happy people in this world. I just see too many people not happy. And it's like, can you just find something? There's so many things. You could be anything you want to be. Yeah. Just apply yourself a little bit. I don't care if it's video games in your room. Just find something that brings you happiness versus just trudging down the path of negativity. Yeah. So
you survived.
I survived. That wasn't bad. You were easy on me. I thought you were going to get me.
Those were the same exact questions I gave a mutual friend of ours from another podcast. So I literally just copied and pasted them. So I did want to give you, since we did this on the last minute, I did want to make them easy for you.
Oh, I appreciate it.
How can people find out about where to find you and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, LinkedIn or my email, people have that too as well. But LinkedIn is probably where I communicate a lot with most folks. And if you know me, I'm a huge texting guy. Like phone calls great, but typically tied up. But like texting, I get back to people a lot quicker. So. And
you've done a good job I know this is a personal initiative of yours, but you've done a good job of posting stuff more often. So you post a couple times a week on LinkedIn. So it's good to see your personal brand shine through on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what's really cool? Like you could talk all day about business and economics or politics, or just pick something that's a professional. It's a professional network, right, on LinkedIn. you pick something that's a professional topic.
Yep.
And just it's interesting to see the engagement you get on that versus personal. It's 3x personal every single time. I could talk about cutting my finger, and if that is going to get 3x more than talking about a complex,
lubrication.
Yeah, lubrication in any sense of the word.
Yeah.
I just every time.
Yeah.
Every time it blows my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know why it still does, but it's crazy. People want a personal interaction.
Yeah.
We see so much other crap. Let's make a personal connection.
Yeah. If you don't know Luke, get to know Luke because he's one of my favorite people, and hence the reason why I want to put you on the show. But thanks for winging this with me. Like I think we crushed this thing.
This was great. This was great. Yeah.
You're easy to talk to. Like everybody can see. Like so. They should get to know you a little bit, and you work for a big company, and sometimes that can be a little bit insular. I think you've done a really good job of getting out there and getting to meet more people. So connect with Luke on LinkedIn, get to know him a little bit, and stuff like that. And also too, I just want to say thank you for being such a great part of our community. Coalition is growing because of guys like you, right, and people like you that are not only invested from a group standpoint, but you leading a group means a lot to me. You're a busy dude. To see you invest your time into other people and pour back into them and see how they respond to that that's solid gold, dude.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to do it. So
yeah, you crush it.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, man. On behalf of Luke, this has been the Power of 9 podcast. I want to thank you for the privilege of your time. Cheers.
Cheers.